to Convo Fango. Today we are joined by director Gaspar Noé to talk about his new film LUX ÄTERNA.
Yeah,
Welcome. Thanks for coming to chat with us today.
thank you.
So this began as a short film for Saint Laurent, is that right?
Actually, the movie was made in 2019, and I guess we were in the months of February of 2019 or March, and I get a phone call from Anthony Vaccarello, who's the art director, designer, the number one designer of the Saint Laurent brand, and he said, "Oh, okay, okay, can we have a coffee? I have a proposal for you." So I said, okay. I went, we had a coffee, and I thought he would propose me some commercial, or I didn't know what he was going to. And he said, oh, from time to time we help artists to do performances or to do photo exhibitions. We help Brett Easton Ellis also to do a short film. We finance it, we produce it, and you do whatever you want. And say, okay, yeah, of course. I didn't even ask how much money was involved. I just said, but what are the conditions? Say, and he told me, well, where would be the best place to show a short film? Say, oh, like everything in Cannes, short film, long film, Cannes is the best place to show a film. And he said, okay, and when is that? I said, oh, it's in 2 months from now. It's in May. Could we be ready with a short film for Cannes? I said, of course, but what are the conditions? And he said, oh, just use the clothing of the brand, and then if you could make the movie with icons that artists, actors or actresses that we work with for the brand, those would be the conditions. And I said, oh, who do you have? And he said, well, I have. We have Charlotte Gainsbourg, Beatrice, Katrina. Okay, it's done. Well, let's do it with Charlotte Gainsbourg and Beatrice. I love those for many years, and I had met 1 month before Beatrice, and she was extremely funny. The day I met her, so yeah, well, of course I will be happy to do the movie with them. But any other conditions? No, no, no. Just help yourselves, carte blanche. But let's try to do a short film for Cannes. Okay. So then uh, he went back to see him 2 days later, and he said, "So, do you have an idea?" And I said, "Yeah, I have an idea actually. I just invented the idea what I would take to the subway." And I said, "Oh, it's about the shooting of a movie that Beatrice is directing with Charles Gainsbourg about Inquisition, and everything goes wrong because there's a technical problem, and everybody's fighting against everybody." And I said, "Okay, and could we shoot it in order to be ready for Cannes?" And say, "Yeah, of course we will be." So then we started the pre-production, and yeah, 2 3 weeks later, we're shooting this movie in 5 days, and then we edited very quickly, and we were in Cannes, and the result that we I expected to be a 10 15 minutes long ended up being a 52 minutes movie, and it was treated almost as a feature. We were on the men's selection at midnight. Everybody was very elegant. We had like the big event in the main theater, so everybody was happy. I was the happiest one of them all. But and then people say, "Oh, it's a pity it's not a feature film," but it's perfect. I like its timing, and especially nowadays with all these platforms, people are used to long films, to short films. Now the empire of the 90-minute movie has disappeared
Hmm.
lately. So and and the result that was very much created collectively or improvised on set is very fresh. It's probably my funniest movie ever. Some people say, "Oh, you should do comedies." The movie is so funny, but also it's a bit experimental.
Yeah. It's kind of like the film equivalent to a novella. It's not a novel, it's not a short story, it's an in-between. And it lands at this really like it lands at this sweet spot that's a happy medium.
Yeah.
And you're getting just enough of it, And it's like you're very it's also very it's overstimulating. And I mean that in a really good way, but you use all these different techniques. The flashing is very intense, and then you use all these like different aspect ratios, and you do a lot of the split screen, but there's so much tension because there's this chaos happening on set. But the way that you use that split screen, there's parts where like the anxiety is just like building so intensely, and it's like like a symphony and it's like crescendoing to this like big finale. And I was just like, at a certain point, I was like, ooh, like I feel very, very stressed out and very anxious right now because there's something happening here, and my attention is split and I'm paying attention to both of these things, but it's just overstimulation happening like together.
happy when you go see a movie in a movie theater and you feel like someone drops it, spiked your drink with a drug. It says,
Yeah. You definitely achieved that, especially in the last. I mean, the whole film definitely achieves that, but especially the last, like, I don't even know, like 7 minutes or
I,
so.
I, I was proud of my previous credits, the opening credits or final credits in my previous movies, but I really like the credits of this movie almost more than any other credits I've ever done because we can like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have what's in the letters, see, they hurt your eyes.
Yeah. There were parts where I was watching like kind of peeking or kind of like this, so I could still see just enough, but not be like, whoa.
Many people hide their eyes at the end of the movie.
Yeah. Can you watch it full on, or do you have to like kind of peek?
Yeah, I like watching it. I
You like
like
to watch it, okay.
like it. I like being stoned legally.
Yeah. So it doesn't, and then I'm like, oh, this could be like, if it was like another horror film, right? Like we're watching this and it's like subliminal messaging us or like hypnotizing us or something, because it sort of makes you start to feel like you're going into a trance or something if you watch it for long enough and it's just like, doof, doof, doof.
Yeah, I had already used Flickr in other movies, but in this movie, the Flickr is more colorful and
Mhm.
speaker also.
Yes. It's beautiful too. Also, like again with the split screen, because it's not just the flicker. You play so much in this movie, and then you have the split screen and the flicker and the gorgeous colors and the silhouettes, and it's just like it's like jaw-droppingly gorgeous. But then also I'm like, okay, I have to like take a second to like look away for a minute.
Susana Around was right to propose me to do such.
Yes, 100%.
Thanks,
Yes.
Susana.
Well done. Yeah. So how much of this you're talking about the comedy elements of it, and it's very funny. There's very funny lines, and this has a very specific tone to it. How much of that was scripted, and then how much improvisation is happening? Because you put this together so
Uh,
quickly.
no, actually, the day I started shooting the movie, it was not even 3 pages. It was not. It was just 3 lines. And so I know that, for example, that Rizal wasn't worried because she's a party girl. She loves this control, and I love this control too. But especially when it's a creative discontrol.
Mhm.
But Charlotte Gainsbourg, who had said yes, at the very last days before coming from New York to Paris to shoot, she kind of got worried about why there's no paper written. And I said, "Oh, we'll do whatever you want." They're coming and said, "But what am I playing? Are you playing Charlotte Gainsbourg, like getting burned for a movie?" And she's used to like to work with radical directors in radical movies, but she's more used to have some people. But I think she got worried, and we had the discussion. Finally, she came, and then the moment she was there, she enjoyed the shooting as everybody, and yeah, and lots of things happen on the set with the cameras on set that were much better because I hadn't planned them. People when you put all the toys on the table and there are many kids around, the kids know how to play with the toys. You don't have to
Right.
know how they have to play. They find their ways. So all the actors and the technicians that made the movie with me, we had all these toys and said, let's do something better. If the movie is 10 minutes long, it's perfect. And if it's 2 hours long, it's perfect. Let's just have fun together. And then I'll edit the material. But I have to go to camp because that was the additional request.
Mhm.
I had to edit the movie very fast, but the also the pleasure of doing things fast is that you don't think too much about it. You have like a
Mhm.
instinctive response to what's good, what's bad, and
Yeah, you all put so much trust in one another then to get this done because you're, like you said, you have all the toys and you know that you have the team that can utilize this in the best possible way.
I trust people who prove me that they were intelligent
Mm.
in other movies. I
Okay.
don't trust dumb people. No,
I mean, that's a good philosophy though, right? Like,
Dumb people are trouble. No, no, no. Never get close to losers.
Untrustworthy. Yeah. But it gives it this really fun, playful kind of thing. Like you can I feel like you can tell that you guys were playing on set because the dialogue that happens is very, very natural. But it's not just like random things that are being said. Like it's very you go from showing you use classic film clips like from Haxin and things. You're using these classic pieces and then you're using this stuff that you've shot. So you're like using these classic pieces as like a framework to do this like layout and then you're adding your things onto it. So it's like you're collectively creating this new thing and you're talking about the witch hunts and burning at the stake and then like it's unfolding into chaos and we kind of see that happening
Mm.
in real time and it's just it's very playful and very interesting the way that you guys went about this. Let's see. Oh, I wanted to talk about you also have we're not talking about Vortex, but you also have Vortex is now out as well, and you're also using split screen and Dario Argento film is starring in that. So what made you want to do both of these films? You're using split screen and playing with
No,
aspect ratios.
I did that once I had finished um, Lux Eterna, which initially wasn't planned to use split screen,
Mm-hmm.
but it's just that because I noticed since the first day that I couldn't shoot it as I had shot climax with long master shots because I wasn't prepared enough to achieve those kind of scenes in such a short time. So I ended up shooting with 2 or 3 cameras, and then in the editing process, I used a split screen. So I enjoyed using multiple screens. I did another short film for the same brand, Saint Laurent,
Mm-hmm.
at the end of 2019, and it's on the net. It's called Summer of 21. If you haven't seen it, it's like a fashion movie with Charlotte Rampling playing in it, and many people said, "Oh, it feels like a Dario Argento movie," but it was like a kind of second proposal that Antonio Baccarello did to me, again, offer me, and I'm really proud of that very short film. But so when I started preparing Vortex, uh, I had done these other 2 movies before, and I saw that it would make even more sense for this movie to use a split screen because it's about 2 persons who live under the same roof, but they're separated because they have been disconnected by the mental disease of the woman. So it's about 2 loneliness that are interlinked, and yeah, and so the emotional response to that cinematic gimmick, whatever, is very simple and straightforward. So everybody would understand what it means emotionally
Right.
to be connected from someone else by watching the double screen on one screen. Even
Mm-hmm.
a taxi driver would see the movie, he would understand what it says.
Right. Does that present different challenges both in shooting and the editing when you're doing a split screen
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that?
But it's not so complicated.
Okay.
There's just some scenes where it was complicated is when the 2 characters would separate and go to
Mm.
different rooms and they would come back because then we had to shoot first one of them, edit that part in the next morning and measure the timing that scene
Mm.
was taking, and then we would shoot the other part before they would come back. And
Then it becomes like a dance, like with choreography almost.
so yeah,
Yeah.
there's some kind of choreography. And also when you shoot with 2 cameras, of course you have to avoid the other camera or the other operator. But from time to time, we had to erase digitally one of the operators.
Really?
Sometimes they were accidents, especially when it was handheld camera.
Yeah. I just put them in a green screen suit and they're just like in a or you leave it in and just say, "Oh, that's the style." Yeah, that's we meant to do that. Is there anything else you'd like to share with us before we go? Anything in particular?
Especially for Lux Eterna, I think because it's got like strong, powerful, colorful, flickering scenes, it's much better to see it in a theater than on a monitor. Or if you one day people watch it on a monitor or on a platform, they have to turn off all the lights around.
Yes.
But I think that one looks much better on a big screen.
I did not get
Oh,
to see it on a
Or,
big screen, but I can see what you're saying because it is so just like the vivid, just like it's like
or
I
at
said, it's
least we should
overwhelming.
really, people should really turn all the lights off before watching it.
Yes. Okay. Turn off all the lights and watch Lux Æterna. Okay, so Lux Æterna opens in New York May 6th, and it's expanding nationwide in the following weeks. And Vortex is out now. You can catch that one right now.